Hello everyone. Today is going to be a bit of a general channel and life update. There are a lot of you there who are new to both of the channels and who haven't seen me yet, so hi! How do we start? Well, it seems to be commonplace these days to start with a health update. And for those of you, again, for the benefit of those of you who haven't been around for a while, I do, since pretty much last year, October, November, suffer from long COVID, or more technically, chronic fatigue syndrome. It's relatively mild in my case, so it just means that I get really, really tired really, really quickly, and I need to effectively have a nap every 3 to 4 hours. Other than that, things mostly work, but it has kind of thrown a bit of a spanner in the works of my general plans, life, and everything else. So on top of that, unfortunately, 2 members of my family have developed somewhat more serious health complications, which are going to be requiring major operations. So in the coming months, that, and I actually have a move. I'll put a picture up there. I'll have a move coming up on in probably 6 weeks-ish, where we are going to move out of the apartment that we're currently living in, and we'll be moving into a larger place. So that's finally coming together. So in the next coming months, given that situation, my general, and this is just to manage expectations, my general output of videos is probably going to be a little bit more fluctuating. So while I'm obviously trying to make as many videos as I can, because I enjoy doing that very, very much, and I am trying to maintain a stable output, there will be weeks where I just don't get to it. This also means that if you have been writing comments, which a lot of you are doing, or have been sending me DMs on Discord, which is also fairly popular, or sending me emails, and I haven't been replying to you, well, that is because I just literally don't have the energy to catch up on everything. I will sometimes be a week late. Sometimes I'm also going to be replying to an email 2 months after. I will eventually get around to it all, but I have to do it within my means. So I'd say the biggest challenge for me with the whole chronic fatigue thing has been acceptance, because it really just means that you can't do things that you could previously do, or things that you could previously do easily are suddenly becoming a challenge. Like if I want to go to the grocery store, that is something I need to actually plan into my day, because I know that once I get back from the grocery store, I am actually going to be sufficiently tired that I am going to have to take a nap for half an hour before I can slowly start doing something else. And if I go outside 4 or 5 days in a row and do something, then I will be completely knackered, like it has been this week, because we've just had a couple of appointments around the construction and planning and a couple of other things. And then, very quickly, you find yourself on a Sunday afternoon and you realize you haven't done any videos for next week. It's you haven't touched any gaming for a week. So there will be weeks like this in the coming months, and hopefully I would probably say around, well, you never know what the future brings, but I would say around probably September, October-ish, things should hopefully have settled in a new place, and everything will be getting a little bit more to normal, but you never know what the future brings. So this is just to manage expectations. If you see me, not posting videos for a little bit, that's why, so I don't have to explain that every single time. So that out of the way, what is going to be new up and coming on the channel? Well, the Ultimate Admiral Dreadnought series is coming slowly to a close. I was actually hoping that at this point I would actually have recorded the remaining episodes already, but of course, as life goes, I haven't. So I will do that. I will bring it to a satisfactory conclusion. And then by a very, very narrow margin. I mean, this was US election levels of narrow margin things. So I haven't engaged any gerrymandering, but in a very narrow margin, Crusader Kings 3 has won the poll for what this next series is. Now, for everybody else who's voted on the other games, the first runner-up is Suzerain, which sounds a very interesting game. And we've got a couple of interesting other games as well that have fallen out in the first round. I want to get to all these games. I actually have all these games on Steam at this point. It's It's just a matter of actually eventually getting around to it. So what's going to happen is, and definitely not before the move, because Crusader Kings 3 is a relatively complex game. And you're like me, looking at politics, so by the looks of it. And the very fascinating discussions I've had in the comments with the Kaiserreich series. So we will be doing Crusader Kings 3 probably, I would say, if everything goes according to plan, sometime in July. The other reason being that my current recording setup is a somewhat aging HP laptop with a 1660 Ti NVIDIA GPU. And while it can perfectly well handle Crusader Kings 3 at max graphics, it tends to get a little noisy because the fans are spinning. So Crusader Kings 3 is on max graphics is quite a bit more demanding in terms of power than Hearts of Iron. So the plan, and the reason I'm recording on a laptop right now is because we are living in a relatively small 2-bedroom unit and I just don't have the space for anything else. That is about to change with the move, which again should hopefully happen sometime in July. So the idea is that once we've moved and I'll have enough space, I will actually be building a PC. And that PC will then be the basis and foundation for recording, and then I can finally record in proper graphic settings without having the damn fans going off in the background and it's sounding like I'm sitting in a wind tunnel. So that's also another reason, and plus I do actually need to practice a little bit for Crusader Kings 3, otherwise I would just be, not knowing what I'm talking about, and that's no good. So that's something I'll be doing. I'll definitely be continuing with Hearts of Iron 4. Hearts of Iron 4 is kind of a staple. So we have still the Kaiserreich series to go through. And I am planning to make more Hearts of Iron 4 guides as well. I still on my plate have a guide for aircraft. I've got a guide or multiple guides actually for naval that I'm planning to do. And a couple of other small things. Last item, I'm doing this actually full-time at this point. So I have actually quit my full-time job back in February. So I'm now almost 5 months into not having a full-time job. And this means that while I am in no dire financial need, I am German, we plan ahead. I am planning to eventually do this as a full-time source of income. So I've been looking into monetization, obviously. And as you can see, this channel is still relatively small. The previous channel where I'm doing mobile gaming is somewhat larger, but the ad income is not really easily sufficient. Now, I don't put in ads in the middle of videos. That is a matter of principle. As long as YouTube allows me not to put ad breaks in the middle of videos, and that might or might not change, but as long as they allow me not to do that, I will not do it because I personally can't stand that. So that's not something I'll do. So I have looked in the past into YouTube memberships. Now here's where it gets a little bit interesting. YouTube memberships, as well as YouTube, as the other sort of YouTube things like Super Thanks and similar, these are products. So this came as a little bit of a surprise, and I had to do some digging in the documentation. But these are effectively products. So if you are, let's say, if you send somebody let's say dollars. If you send somebody $10 of through a Super Thanks comment, you are in fact not donating anything. You are purchasing a product, and that means that you are, or that an amount, a certain share of this, and this is public information, so this is not something secret, a certain share of this is going to be taken by the platform. Now, in case of YouTube, that is, I believe, 30%, and I'll link the respective documentation in the description, but this is becoming problematic once Apple gets involved. And the scenario is thus. So if you are on an iPhone and you are purchasing a Super Thanks, and I have seen people in videos giving a lot of money through these. If you do that, then, well, YouTube, rightfully so, will take their share, but Apple will as well, because it's an in-game purchase or an in-app purchase, basically. So in a worst-case scenario where you are using a Super Thanks comment through through a YouTube app on iOS, you are going to 60% of that is going to be taken by the platforms, and the rest is going to end up in the pockets of the creator. So I've disabled this because I personally find this to be I find this unfair. I understand why this happens, but I don't like this because it feels, and this is not a criticism of YouTube, because they don't make these rules. It is a reality of the in-app in-game purchase walled garden scenarios, but it leads to the fact that you feel like you have actually tipped or donated a creator, while at the same time, in the worst case scenario, over 60% of that flows into the major platforms. In YouTube's case, it makes sense because they are the ones providing the platform. In Apple's case, it's just how the rules are. So I have disabled this because I find it just unfair that such a large share of the money that somebody voluntarily gives, and we are living in difficult times, gets taken up by the platforms. So I will be linking alternative platforms to be doing this, and I will also be working on a membership option that will be available probably again sometime in July, maybe August, depending on how things go. So just if you're wondering why that is disabled, that would be why. Anyway, that's all I had for today. Thanks everybody. Again, welcome to all the new viewers on the channel, and I will see you around. And I'll like I said, I will try to maintain as many videos as I can, not just because I feel obliged to, but because it is great fun for me to do so. But at the same time, health dictates that I have to accept that I cannot do certain things. And there will be weeks when I just can't. So because I've already got 3 other things going, and that just takes up all the energy. So that's going to be, just so you know, that's happened. It's not that I'll be dropping off the platform. I will, if I could, I would make 3 videos a day. But maybe I'll get back to that one day. Anyway, have a great Sunday still, and I will see you all around in the next episode. Bye-bye.